Today we're going to create the world's easiest Hackintosh. Now, before you get too excited, it's not actually, strictly speaking, a Hackintosh in that it doesn't run on the bare metal. Instead, it runs on a host operating system. So it's the full MacOS, in this case Catalina. You can even pass through your GPU, you can use AMD processors, and you can give it a whole bunch of memory. It's not quite as advanced as some other systems, but it is by far the easiest. Now, installing macOS is never quick, but this is the least tedious, least intensive, and easiest to get going macOS you can run outside of using Apple Mac hardware. What this will give you is a Mac that can run the internet, you can run Safari, you can get your iMessages, and you can run Apple Mac software almost as if it's native. And despite being so easy, it's actually quite capable, but there are some limitations. If you do want to go even further, then I'll give you some tips at the end of this video for the next step to go even deeper. But for now, if you just want to, say, have iMessage running, or you want to be able to test things natively in Safari, or if you want to do some quick coding that only Apple Mac can do, then this is definitely for you. As mentioned, it does need a host operating system. Now, I'm reliably informed that Windows 10 using the Windows subsystem for Linux can actually run these sorts of installations using the Snap Package Manager. But I'm going to run this on my Ubuntu installation. And Ubuntu is the easiest Linux to set up in my opinion, and it has a very easy to follow install procedure. That's beyond the scope of this video, but let me know if you would like that step included in a future video. The process starts with running the snap package, and you do this with sudo snap install and the name of the package. In this case, it's Sosumi. And then obviously you need your root password to sudo. It'll download all the files that it needs, and then it'll progress to installing them. If you don't have Snap already set up, it should be in Ubuntu, but other distributions might not have it, then you can download Snap first. And then once Sosumi is installed, then you go ahead and launch it, and it'll open the Clover Boot Manager. In the Clover Boot Manager, you will need to use the Apple Disk utility to format the partition that it sets up for you. And this partition will be called the Apple Inc. VirtIO block. And erasing it, formatting it, will set it up ready to use. And as you can see, the file system isn't quite that big, so it is a little bit restrictive in that regard. And once you've got the file system set up, then you run reinstall macOS, and it'll go ahead and install Catalina. At the time of watching this video, it may have already progressed to a future version, because it actually does download it from Apple to install. At this point, the installation is complete, but you do want to add to the configuration extra memory and extra processor cores, which will speed it up significantly. So you need to go into your home directory and then snap Sosumi and common. Then edit the launch script. You'll find there's a -m for the memory configuration, and there's a SMP for the cores. You want to bump the memory up to as much as you can, and same with the cores. So I'm going to use 12 for 12 gigabytes, and I'm going to have 4 cores. Now, if you want full control over the setup, if you want to have a really advanced system that is much more high performance, then go ahead and check out the repo for MacOS Simple KVM. Sosumi actually builds on top of MacOS Simple KVM. In fact, Sosumi is pretty much an installer for this system. And what this allows you to do is have a massively configurable virtual machine that is almost as powerful as running a real Hackintosh. So there's steps here. As you can see, it is a lot more involved. You have to do a lot more manually. But once you have it set up, you can tweak everything about it. So whereas we added memory, networking was bundled, and it worked out of the box, you do have to do more setup, but as you can see, there's a lot more configuration possible. And you can even use it in a hosted virtual machine such as DigitalOcean. And that means that you could have your Mac set up remotely.